Stay a while and listen.
Good afternoon, my Diablo 2 brethren and Taro Adun. Have you ever gotten a new piece of gear from someone, maybe as a gift, or maybe you made it your first time, and you thought, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for? That's what we're talking about today. So recently, I had been working on my Javazon, Darth Javi here. Um, and I had found myself a nice Griffins in one of my other runs, so I figured, well, I'd come back to my Javazon and make her actually worth something now, because she didn't have anything to begin with. So the only thing I had was the Sunder Charm, which I wasn't at level to do. And so then um, I got the Griffins, and so then I'm all right. Let's do that then. And now I felt like I was in a place. So I was only at like level 65 at the time. So I kicked off a bunch of bail runs last night and leveled her up to 76 so that I could use the Griffins. In the process, I reached out to a friend of mine who had Infinity. Now I've never owned or created an Infinity before. And everything I see in here, people want to build Javasons. They go these decked out Griffins with a facet in it, and then they get their Sunder Charm, and they get Infinity, and they just nuke everything from orbit. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to try that. And so I asked to borrow the Infinity so that I could try this and see what all the fuss is about. Because truthfully, I've never gotten to Javazon to this point before because I never had a Griffins. I had the Sunder Charms, but I wasn't invested. But now that I had the Griffins, I'm like, let's do this. Let's finally do this. So yeah, I don't have Ethereal Titans yet, or I also gave away my T-Strokes. I don't have those anymore either. But I have reasonable stuff, and that's besides the point. The issue comes into like, all right, now that I have this Infinity, what can I do with this thing here? And so the first thing that comes to mind that nobody seems to tell you is the base matters. The base matters big time because look at this beast here. So required strength was 200. Um, poor Protham here was nowhere close to that. I think I had to dig out a Duriel, so luckily I have a lot of these on hand, and I had to grab my G-Face from one of my other regular mercs just to get extra strength in order to be able to equip this thing. So I was rolling about my merry way doing whatever I wanted, and I got this thing, and I'm like, I literally couldn't even equip it. So I and I'm a ways off too. Like if I pull this stuff here, that's pulling 30 strength. I'm only at 170, and you need 200, and it was gaining like 2 strength every like 2 levels maybe, and like I'd be level 90 before I could equip this thing natively. So nobody ever seems to tell you that. So had it been in a different base, maybe things would have been better. The other thing, this one is ethereal. I think the base one, non-ethereal, is actually 210. So if you're thinking about just rolling out a level 40, whatever the base is for Titans, 42. If you're looking at rolling out a level 42 Lightning Furies on, you might be in for a rude awakening if you're just thinking you're going to plop an Infinity on there or even make one for the first time. So that was a bit of a shocker for me as well. Um, so getting that in play was tough here. And then, right, so the next thing then was actually getting Protham here to do his job. And so that's one of the things that I found most frustrating. I thought this was going to be just you nuke everything. But as I'm running around the screen, especially with my current Zon, I have an Enigma equipped on here, so I can just kind of bop around. But I've noticed when I go to spots, notice how long it took for this Vile Archer right here to get conviction. I don't know how big of an issue that's going to be if I get swarmed by massive amounts of enemies, but it's something that bothered me that I have to wait for him to catch up to get those things to work. And so that was not something I expected. I had basically no experience with conviction or Infinity in general. So that was news to me. It would have been nice to know that you have to kind of slow play this a little bit and maybe run up to some guys. And maybe once you get into clear speed, it's not a big deal. But maybe you want to run up to them, get them to proc, and then do your thing. Um, that might be how you're supposed to do it. But I never knew that. Like I said, I never had Infinity. But look at these guys as they're coming into field of view. Hardly any of them are actually getting hit by conviction, and I'm killing them already, which is maybe a good thing because I have Griffins and Sunder. But again, nobody seems to tell you that you have to kind of, make sure that your guy is good enough to survive for one, so that you can position him into these mobs here, get conviction to hit, and then nuke them accordingly. So I didn't know that. Like I said, maybe you all know that, but I did not know that. And so then the last thing, let's go to another area here. Let me just run around here. So here's these guys here. I run into a fight and I just go bam, 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 lightning fury, lightning fury, lightning fury. And guess who's out of mana? This was one mob. I am out of mana. Why did nobody tell me that mana was going to be a problem when I got Infinity? Maybe they didn't think they had to. Obviously, I was rocking Insight for a long time, and I had grown extremely dependent on that. So now I have major, 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 major mana issues, and I have to equip my belt with potions. Just doing bail runs the other night, I was burning through potions like a madman, just trying to shoot stuff. It was very frustrating. So where that ultimately led me to then is it's nobody's fault for not telling me that I was gonna have mana issues. I mean, I have 300 mana. That's not low by any stretch. But without insight, it's obviously more difficult. And that's when you have to start looking at, okay, you got Infinity, but guess what? Your build sucks. Your gear sucks. You need to fix that. Obviously, I'm not going to put any points into energy. I'm not going to do that. But when I look at this, maybe these gloves here could be reconsidered. I'm going for kind of max damage with the lightning, but maybe something like this, it needs to be evaluated for, you know, mana on kill, for example. Well, that might be something. Or maybe a different shield. I'm not going to give up spirit. I'm just not. Um, but when I put in a different piece of armor and probably take Enigma off, I don't think I'll use that. There's nothing for really mana on Enigma. Um, and plus, if you get hit, it damages your mana too. So finding something that's a little bit more mana friendly as far as a piece of armor would be great, as well as maybe my amulet is garbage. This is about the worst thing on this one. Just basic stuff that I never replaced. Um, Only just modest mana here, just a couple of resists. And same thing here, just resist. So I have to rethink this entire thing in terms of, do I want to go about chugging mana potions all the time, or do I want to make things a little bit more sustainable? I'm not really sure yet because I'm still very green. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I have. I'm going to go through and finish this character solo in Hell, something that I have not done before. So now that I have the Infinity and the Griffins, I will solo Hell with her, and then she'll ultimately probably be either a ruin runner for cows or she'll be retired. I'm not really sure. But like I said, a little bit of a rude awakening when getting that Infinity for the first time. I thought I was just going to be able to get this thing, borrow it, and turn into a one-shot killing machine. And truthfully, it's not quite that simple. There are considerations you have to make if you are looking at getting your own Infinity. Double check what kind of gear you have. Make sure you have a decent mana pool. Make sure you can, put potions on there if you want to, unless you're just using rejuves. Make sure that your merc can equip it. So if you're building it yourself, be really careful about what level you want to use it, because the base level for Infinity, I'm guessing, is whatever the highest rune is, which is a bear. Given this here, it's going to be mid 60s. I think Jaw is higher than Bear, so I'm guessing 63 is the requirement. So if you're thinking about turning on Infinity at level 63, make sure that your Merc can actually equip it. And that's actually going to be a big point of contention. Do you put it into a lower requirement pole arm that maybe is not optimized for endgame. So something to consider there. I don't really know right from left when it comes to that specifically. I'm used to using insight, so my merc is there just to exist, and so this isn't my main character anyways. I play my summoner, so it doesn't even matter what my merc has. Um, but something for you to think about. So a little bit of the wish I would have known situation from getting in Infinity. That's all I got for today. Hope you found this enlightening. See you next time. Hail to you, champion.